What would happen if you entered the world of a survival game? Jake and Chloe sneakily climbed the high fence into an abandoned seaside amusement park at 2 a.m. The atmosphere was deathly silent, with only the sound of waves crashing against the shore. Suddenly, the pink neon lights of an old arcade machine flickered to life on their own. Jake laughed recklessly and dropped the last coin from his pocket into the slot. As soon as the coin hit the bottom, the ground beneath them began to shake violently. Reality warped into square pixels, and Chloe's eyes widened as she saw her own hands starting to become translucent. Both were instantly sucked into a high-tech digital world where everything was a survival game. They had to run for their lives, fleeing a giant robot across a collapsing rainbow bridge. The pair lunged toward the final light portal just before the system completely deleted all data. They opened their eyes again on the lawn in front of their house. In Jake's hand was a gold coin engraved with strange patterns, absolute proof that this thrilling adventure was no mere dream. What should you do if you fall into a city made entirely of sweets? Max and Jane were accidentally sucked into a gasapon machine and tumbled down into Sugar Town, a place where everything is edible. The city features cotton candy clouds, a chocolate river, and candy-paved roads. Being famished, the pair began gnawing on a peppermint street lamp and devoured a gingerbread house roof until it was completely wrecked. Suddenly, a force of dozens of muscular, fierce-looking gummy bear police officers rushed in and surrounded them. One officer drew a candy cane baton, and the children were certain they would be arrested for destroying public property. But then, the lead gummy bear shoved his own baton into his mouth and chewed it casually. It turns out that in this city, eating buildings isn't illegal. The police weren't angry because they ate the house, they were furious because the kids were eating too slowly. As punishment, the gummy bear army began force-feeding Max and Sam giant marshmallows without stopping. In the final scene, both children are seen with bellies so bloated they look ready to pop, all while the sadistic gummy bears stand around clapping and cheering. What would you do if you swapped bodies with your friend? Rocket was sprinting to the cafeteria because he was afraid his favorite meal would run out. But then, he crashed right into Albert, the school nerd with thick glasses who was carrying a huge pile of books. They bumped heads so hard that they both got knocked out cold. When they woke up, Rocket was freaking out because his vision was completely blurry, while Albert screamed because he was suddenly wearing Rocket's favorite outfit. They pointed at each other in total confusion and talked about how to get their own bodies back. But right as they were getting into position to smash their heads together again hoping to swap back, the janitor suddenly walked up to them. The janitor told them to try living as the other person for a while, before finding a way to return to normal. They agreed and actually had fun being each other, sharing the stories of what happened that day with one another. Eventually, Rocket and Albert fell asleep. When they woke up, they discovered that they had returned to their original bodies. The cake deer extinct because it was too cute. Deep in the heart of a remote forest lived a peculiar species of deer. Its fur was as white as fresh cream, dotted with pink spots like sprinkles, and it bore soft, elegantly curved antlers. Anyone who saw it for the first time would exclaim the same thing: it's a walking cake. Inevitably, news of this creature spread across the internet. Before long, groups of people dressed in camouflage gear and armed with water guns swarmed the forest. They called themselves the Cake Hunters. There was only one rule: if you managed to hit a deer with water, you had to take a selfie with it and post it on social media. The cake deer were hunted every single day. A herd that once numbered 40 was soon reduced to fewer than 10. Some died of heart failure from the constant terror, while others fell to their deaths over cliffs while trying to escape. One day, a renowned biologist held a press conference with figures that shocked the world. Only 3 cake deer remained, and the species was on the brink of extinction. The government immediately declared the forest a restricted zone. CCTV cameras were installed everywhere, and water guns were banned and made illegal to carry into the woods. Humans were now only allowed to observe the deer through binoculars from a distance. But tragically, it was too late. All 3 remaining deer were male. Without a way to reproduce, the cake deer eventually faded into extinction shortly after. What do you want to be when you grow up? Today, the teacher asked the children to write about their dream careers and the reasons behind them. Leo loved taking his toys apart until they broke just to study their inner mechanics. As he grew up, he didn't want to be an engineer. Instead, he became a surgeon, believing that the human body is the most complex machine of all. Mia used to messily draw all over the classroom walls. Everyone was certain she would become a painter, but she felt that a canvas was simply too small. Instead, she became a city planner, designing the layout of entire urban landscapes. Sam was a perfectionist who always had to arrange his crayons by shade. His obsession with order and his hatred for chaos led him to become an air traffic controller. Chloe was the peanut butter sandwich trader in the cafeteria, possessed of high persuasive skills. Growing up, she didn't want to enter the business world. She wanted to be a police negotiator, knowing that people are willing to trade anything for what they truly want. As for Ben, he loved staring out the window, dreaming of grand adventures. He didn't become an astronaut because he hated exercising, but he became a famous author, creating thousands of stories from the comfort of his own imagination. And what about you? What do you want to be when you grow up? What would you do if after school, a terrifying creepy clown chased you down the hallway? Cece and Jimmy stayed late doing chores until the school closed. Suddenly, the lights flickered on and off, accompanied by a spine-chilling high-pitched laugh. A clown with a smile stretched from ear to ear and red stains smeared all over its mouth appeared from the corner. It lunged forward, chasing the two of them like a maniac. Cece and Jimmy ran for their lives until they were cornered by the lockers. They hugged each other, shut their eyes tight, and burst into tears. But then, just as the clown was approaching, it stepped right on a banana peel Jimmy had thrown on the floor. It slipped and crashed hard onto its bottom. As the clown struggled to get back up, Cece quickly grabbed a broom to defend themselves. The clown tried to make a run for it, but it bumped right into the janitor who was on patrol. The janitor called the police and had the clown arrested. Turns out, it was just a thief in disguise. Cece and Jimmy stood with their arms crossed, watching the police officers take the clown away. Jimmy turned to Cece and said, "Let's never stay late for chores ever again."